Hey everybody, welcome to Jon-Bon Workshop. I'm John. Today, I thought I'd make a quick video on my utility trailer here. Floor is long overdue to be replaced. Anybody that owns these utility trailers or something similar to this, they know that, the floor's got to be replaced every so often. This one here is actually about 15 years old, and I'd say 5 years overdue. So this is actually going to be the third floor that's been in this trailer. And I'll just give you a quick tour here. I mean, you can see I've got holes in the floor. I mean, it is like somebody stepped through there or something. Back here, kind of the same way. So anyway, yesterday I went by and picked up some new floorboards, and I think I'll just show you the process of putting these floorboards on here. Pretty simple, really. I think the hardest part of it is probably going to be tearing the old boards off, because I'm going to guess that the screws that hold these boards on probably aren't going to come out. So pretty much just gonna go around here and see how many of these old screws I can get out with the impact driver. All right, well, I got about a third of them out or so. I've got one in this piece of trim in the front of the trailer. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. There's a piece of trim. This trim just goes on top of the ends of the boards here. You screw through to the piece of angle underneath, and it holds this end of the boards down nice and firm. And anyway, over here on this piece of trim, because I have to reuse this piece of trim, I have one screw that I couldn't get out. I had one that busted off down there, and then one that just refuses to come out, stripped out on top. So I guess what I'll do is just take a drill bit here, sit in the middle, and drill the top of it off. Get her loose. The rest of these boards here, I mean, I got all the screws out I can get out, so just got to come out by whatever means necessary. I mean, we're talking, you know, get your pry bars, get your hammer. I'm going to use a hacksaw here. I got to cut most of these down to get them in the back of my pickup truck to haul them away anyway. The thing is, whenever I get them all out, whatever's left, I mean, even if I got to cut around the screws and knock the wood off with a chisel or whatever so I can get to the screws, I'll use the vice grips and back them out. I'd like to get all the screws out of it, get it cleaned up. I think I'll do a little time lapse here and let you watch. I'll see when I get this floor tore off of here. All right, one thing you can do if you run into some, like this board here that I'm getting ready to take up, it has some integrity left to it. I mean, it's only been maybe 5 years since I replaced it. And so if you get a hole saw, take the drill bit out of the middle and then get around that screw, drill down through it. I mean, it will pretty well release it. You wouldn't want to do every one of them like that, but whenever you got one that's stubborn, not a bad way to go. Alright guys, well that's how I tore it off. Used the vice grips to back the screws out that I could get out. Some of them just busted off, but not that big a deal. The only thing I can think of really is when I mount this thing here back in the front, a lot of those screws twisted off when I tried to take them out, so I think I'll cut just a 1/2 inch off of one side or the other and slide it so that I'm not trying to drill through the same screws that are stuck in that angle line up there. So if that makes any sense. Just don't want to have to try to go in beside it or whatever. Other than that, I was gonna drag the power washer out and wash this thing off, but I don't think I'm even gonna do that here because I have all my floor lumber here behind the trailer and I don't want all that water to run down underneath it. So I think I'll hook it back up to the truck, take it to the car wash, wash it off, and when I start putting this thing back together, I'll turn the camera back on. All right, I'm back. Did a little power washing on this thing. I'm gonna clean it up as far as like, I'm gonna grind off the little stumps and the screws that are still left in there, and then Craigslist rebuild this thing. And by that I mean, you know, spray paint. I'm not even gonna do a lot of taping off or anything like that. I'm just gonna use cardboard. I did tape around to kind of keep the paint off the tires and stuff. Other than that, I do have like the fenders are kind of beat up from past flat tires and whatnot, so I might try and use my pipe wrench here and see if I can't pull some of this back out a little bit. By no means does it have to be perfect. I mean, this is just an old trailer, so. I had to cut all those old bolts off there. I just used a grinding wheel, and now I'm going to use a sanding disc just to clean up across there. We won't get too crazy with it. Alright guys, got that rebuilt. Ready to put this new lumber on the trailer. I want to talk about cupping. To me, this is the most important part about this whole thing. Well, you know how a tree works. The rings go around the tree, and that's how the tree gets bigger, right? So anyway, the outside of the log is the sap side. And you can see here, it's kind of like this here, right? So this is the sap side of the lumber. If you put this lumber on the trailer and it's sap side down, it's gonna cup, most likely. So you're gonna be shoveling on this thing and it's gonna have lips all over the place sticking up. So if you put the sap side up and you screw this thing down, you can pretty well negate that. So my advice to you, no matter what the board looks like on the sap side, put it up, because you're not gonna like all the ridges and stuff here after the wood begins to dry out. So anyway, I'm gonna get this on the trailer. Get that all on there. You just need to screw it down now. I want to talk about one more time about this piece of trim that goes up in the front, because these are set locations. You don't want to mount this in the exact same spot. You want it to be a 1/2 inch this way, or I suppose you can even turn it around so that maybe it's different holes, because those aren't exactly centered. So, or you can put new holes in this thing, I suppose, too. So I'm just saying it's not ideal to try to put a screw through a broken off screw in the angle iron that's underneath it. So not gonna work very well. So anyway, I've got to actually go do my real job now. Hey guys, I'm gonna put the screws in this thing. So I measured from the back to where the angle iron is that I'm gonna screw to, and then I used a long ruler and I drew a line in both places. I'm just gonna screw it down 2 places plus the front. The back is secured by C-channel. Anyway, because I like my stuff neat, I'm gonna use this. This is on this square, this is 1 inch. So I'm gonna go from each side of this 2x8 and mark where 1 inch is at so that they are uniform. So I'd mark up my 1 inch, just give me a little mark on my line that goes across there so I know where to start my screw. Pretty easy. Then I'm gonna get the impact driver out and put the screws to it. That's hot. Not impressed with the first one. That didn't work. That completely melted. Huh. There you go. I don't think much of that one. So I think what happened here was when I tried to put this screw in, it's not only trying to go through this piece of angle, it's like a tray, plus the angle underneath it. So I mean, I got a pretty good chunk of steel that I'm trying to go through there. I think what I'll do is measure, see how wide this angle is here, and I'll get it on the outside of that, so I'm only going through the bottom piece of angle. So I'll just do that on the 4 edge bolts. Let's get to it. All right, so this angle is 2 inches. It's actually 2 inches from here. We'll go 2 1/4 from the inside there. That'll give us plenty of room to get outside of that thing. See if this drives better. Very nice. All right, I guess we'll get to the rest of these. While I'm at it, I thought I'd go ahead and tired of replacing bulbs, these old bulbs in these junky tail lights. So I bought some really expensive ones from Amazon, 15 bucks, and I thought I'd put some LEDs on there while I'm at it. When I put them on, I'll wire them with the little waterproof connectors here, crimp-on waterproof connectors. You crimp them on and then you hit them with a little heat and they shrink wrap around the wire, keeps them waterproof. So that's the plan. Pretty straightforward. I mean, you just light colors to light colors and then, you know, bolt it back on. Get these put on and I'll be back. All right guys, I thought I'd show you how these little waterproof connectors work. I'm in place. Crimp it. Crimp it. And you just take a little heat. I'm just going to use this little torch here. Lighter works just fine. Cools off. It's going to be nice and watertight. The white one lights here require a ground. The old ones I think just grounded with this bolt, but I'm just going to put a little connector on there and crimp it. I ground this off so that it got bare metal there, and then I'll put this in and put my, that should be just fine as far as the ground goes. I'll put the other wire together and get it stapled up and I'll be right back. Alright guys, here's the final product. Actually turned out pretty good. I mean, a little spray paint, some new wood. I don't know if you guys don't remember what it looked like before. Go back in the video and check out how it looked before. It was not good. Took our tires. Alright, see my new LED brake lights. See it cleaned up in the back. Haven't tested those out yet, but I will here in a few minutes. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.